If you've listened to my podcast long enough, you'll know that I have a pretty extensive travel resume. And if you love to travel, or even love to hear stories from around the world, I'd like to introduce you to the About the Journey podcast, an original podcast from Marriott Bonvoy Traveler. In Season 4, travel journalist and Marriott Bonvoy member Anika Raymond explores how mindful travel has the power to change us, our relationships, and even the world around us. About the Journey will travel to 4 destinations known to transform those who visit, and by the end of each episode, you'll have a full day's itinerary to kickstart your own wellness journey. Starting this season, Anika also sits down to chat with some of the most experienced travelers on the planet about their favorite ways to travel for self-discovery, plus insider tips to help you plan your next trip. I've personally met Anika several times around the world, and I can attest to her being a top-notch traveler and journalist. You're about to listen to an episode of About the Journey in which Anika visits Sedona, Arizona, to learn about wellness travel there, and she also visits an archaeological site and engages in stargazing at night. Search for About the Journey in your podcast player. Once again, that's About the Journey. And you can also click on the link in the show notes.
In Sedona, people feel more. They come here really for that experience, to connect with themselves, to connect with nature as a part of their wellness journey.
Welcome to About the Journey. I'm your host, Anika Raymond, travel expert and member of Marriott Bonvoy. In this season, we're exploring how travel changes us for the better, allowing us to nurture ourselves, our relationships with family and loved ones, and even with the world around us. This week, we are in Sedona. This desert oasis tucked in Arizona's Verde Valley is known for its striking red rocks and energy vortices. But while the beauty might bring you here, a trip to Sedona is equally about connecting back to you. So on today's itinerary in Sedona, I'll be traveling to places that invite me to slow down and reconnect to myself and my surroundings. And by the end of this episode, I hope that you'll not only feel grounded, but ready to mindfully visit Sedona for yourself.
As part of a wellness journey, I think that nature like this helps you to even understand that, well, what about yourself? Taking care of yourself is also, I would say, vital.
I always try to connect people with the people of the past and realizing that they are not so different from us.
We need the night sky to teach us tranquility, and it can do that if you pay attention to it.
I am at Yavapai Vista, and I'm on my way to meet with an energy and sound healer. And we're gonna do a session. And I have to admit, this is not something I typically do on my travels, but you know what? We're in Sedona, and that's kind of what you have to do here. So I am very open to the experience and looking forward to it. I'm meeting up with Melina Furman, the owner of Spirit Flow, a wellness center that she opened in Sedona. Hi, Melina!
Hi, Anika. It is so great.
How are you?
Great. It's so great to meet you.
Good. Melina is set up on a red rock plateau, yoga mat by her side. From our elevated spot, we can see towering red buttes in the distance. Scattered green brush pops out against the red rock landscape. Melina, thank you so much for having me here. I am super excited, but I'm not exactly sure where we are or what we're going to do. So where are we exactly?
Okay, so we are on Yavapai Vista. So that is one of the trailheads here where you have the most amazing view of Courthouse and you have Bell Rock. So these are like 2 of the iconic Sedona mountains, red rocks here that we have here. And very special place, high vibrations. It's really going to be a special session.
I love that. High vibrations all the way. Yeah. Now, you know, Sedona is obviously known for its amazing beauty, but also people talk a lot about the energy vortices. What is an energy vortex?
Well, exactly. In Sedona, we don't say vortices, we say vortexes. But the vortexes that we have here, they are basically places of a higher vibration. The Native Americans came here for ceremony. And so really any place in the world where there has been ceremony, where it's really been taking care of the land, you will actually find vortexes or vortices, and it'll be of a higher vibration. And people, they come here really for that experience as a part of their wellness journey.
This is precisely why I'm here too. I picked Sedona as my first stop on this season's wellness journey because it's so alluring to people wanting to reconnect to themselves through travel. I also want to understand all the ways that Sedona can facilitate this type of trip. Now, Melina is here to help me come back into my own body and this precious land, starting with taking off my shoes.
So when we're doing like a grounding meditation, so the idea is that we're really connecting into earth energy, right? Because we want to really feel our feet there on the earth, right? And then the other part is to actually to work with the breath. What I want to ask you to do is, starting with the meditation, is to actually to breathe down into the diaphragm. You actually stick your stomach out.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that.
So for example, I will do one for you here. So if I would breathe in and then breathe out.
Melina takes a small instrument from her pocket and lifts it to her lips. With her exhale, she plays one long, drawn-out note.
And I guess you could go longer.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're really going to focus on making sure that that exhalation is very long and slow.
Exactly.
Deep breaths help me take in Sedona more fully. I smell the earthy red dust that's kicked up by the wind.
And now I'm going to ask you just to visualize. Perhaps you want to bring in that red rock color. Visualize the energy as an energy and light of red, orange, yellow, green. Feeling that connection with the earth. And you may slowly open your eyes and just see how you feel.
From standing, Melina guides me to the yoga mat. I lay down, close my eyes, and get comfortable. Melina leads me through a sound meditation using a metal bowl called a singing bowl. She runs a wooden mallet around its edge. Sedona's vortex energy might be subtle, but these reverberations wash over me and my whole body hums.
So if you feel ready, I can take the bolster and you can bring yourself to seated.
When I open my eyes, I take in the vista more fully. Maybe it's Sedona's vortex energy, but I do feel more embodied. But I still want to unpack what I've just experienced. So Melina and I make our way to my hotel, the Courtyard Marriott Sedona, to talk some more. You know, you talk a lot about connecting to ourselves here, particularly in Sedona. And that's basically what we've come to Sedona to do, right? We're really trying to focus on connecting to ourselves through travel. So why Sedona in particular? What makes Sedona such an amazing place to do a session, to reconnect back to ourselves?
Yeah. Well, Sedona, you know, it is easier to sense and feel energy here. You connect not only to the nature, but to yourself. Through connecting to nature, through doing sessions like this, you know, you're learning how to slow things down, to move the energy down into the heart and into the body. And, you know, so whether or not you're doing hiking, right? I would still say eating really good food as well, or you're doing sessions like this, it's really, it's a place that people are drawn to. And as part of a wellness journey, I think that nature like this and like understanding how important it is to take care of these like unspoiled places helps you to even understand that, well, what about yourself? You know, taking care of yourself is also, I would say, vital. And it's not just the land, it's the land and you. It's and.
Well, Melina, thank you so much for the session, for your words, for your wisdom, for your knowledge. And I'm looking forward to hopefully connecting again.
Yeah, well, it was my pleasure. I'm so glad. Anytime that you come to Sedona, please be sure to come and see me, and we can always go deeper and deeper.
Melina's invitation to go deeper sits with me as I head to my next stop in Sedona. Already, a morning soaking in the natural beauty here has done me so good. Where I'm headed next will ask me to dive into Sedona's past, which feels like the right step on my journey.
We're walking up to the cliff dwelling. You can see it from here through the bush there. Kind of looks like there's a window. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is Nick Masoni, the manager of Pulaski Heritage Site. He's guiding me up to an ancient cliff dwelling created by some of the earliest inhabitants of the desert Southwest. Pulaski is an archaeological site preserved by the National Forest Service.
We're going to go probably about a quarter of a mile, and we're going to go see some dwellings that date back to about between 1100 and 1150. They were built by people that archaeologists call Sinawa, and that's really just an archaeological term. It's a Spanish word, so it's sin agua, so it's without water. The Hopi preferred to call them Hitsatsinam, and that means ancient ones, and that's what they call their ancestors.
Nick and I walk down a dirt path headed towards the cliff dwellings. The vegetation thickens as we near the cliff's base. Soon, we're clambering over large boulders.
Usually when I bring groups through, I'll stop in this little basin here, right below the dwelling, and I'll have everybody look up because this is a really cool view. But I'll point out these black streaks coming down the side of the cliff. These are outlines of waterfalls, and it carved out this little basin here, and it would have been really easy for a group to kind of dam this up and use this as a reservoir. So we think this is one of the tactics they used to get water.
Oh, this is so beautiful. I mean, the rocks are so large, and I love this color.
Yeah. So the color is from iron oxide. So, iron rusts red, and that's what gives the red rock.
Right.
We make our way up 60 stairs carved from the rock.
These stairs can be kind of uneven.
Soon, we're standing on a flat landing. In front of us is a sight worth marveling at.
Now that is cool, because this really looks like a fort.
Yeah, yeah.
Red sandstone walls tower 2 stories high. Some of the brick facade has fallen. But considering that this site has never been reconstructed, it's truly impressive how much of the original dwelling still stands.
It's stood up for 700 years.
Wow.
Yeah. We have photos of this site from 1895, and you can line up every brick for brick in that photo.
Impressive.
That walk that we just made probably resembles the walk that they would have made almost every day. And it kind of begs the question, why build a house here and not out there?
Well, I mean, they want to hide, I'm guessing, or protect themselves from, I don't know, somebody else coming.
Yeah, it's possible.
Right.
And that was one of the thoughts when archaeologists first started digging. But as they kept digging, they really didn't find much evidence of warfare going on.
Nick explains that the dwelling was placed here for protection from the elements. Here, in the shade of the cliff, daily life unfolded. Children slept, meals were cooked, and communities took part in ceremony.
So right now we're heading to the grotto area. It's an area where we have a lot of rock art in this little kind of shady overhang. Yeah, so here we are.
Wow, so I see all of these, what looks like hieroglyphs, or well, paintings, I guess.
Every usable surface of the rock face is covered in art. Amongst other things, there are etchings that resemble animals, humans, and other objects in nature.
Some of these might date back 8,000 years. The oldest thing we think is this kind of scratching. It's in this grid pattern. Our archaeologist, he speculates that these could be like 12,000 years old.
What really strikes me as I look at this rock with just all of these different forms and ways of people telling their stories, how does connecting with the past, how does coming here and trying to decipher these stories help us to connect with ourselves?
Yeah, I always try to connect people with the people of the past and realizing that they are not so different from us. But there's so many lessons to be drawn from these people, the ways that they lived, the adaptations that they had with their environment, sustainable living practices.
Definitely.
And then there's just a lot of mystery to it as well, which gives you this unexplainable warm feeling inside.
And that tingle.
That
tingle of the unknown, that sense of wonder.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think it helps me to maybe understand more about myself. Being able to draw parallels with how people lived before me and what they cared about and what they told stories about and how they overcame.
And there's a lot of people that visit that feel that exact same sentiment, and you can kind of see it in their eyes too, that like, wow.
I leave Pulaski just as wide-eyed. What strikes me the most as we depart is that all of this still stands today. There's something comforting about knowing that here, tucked into this small valley in Sedona, time is slow enough to feel the past echoing through today. We're near the end of our day in Sedona. The setting sun basks the Verde Valley in gold. The red rocks are further saturated by the fading light. Soon, only moonlight guides us to our final stop. So far, my day in Sedona has helped me turn inward. But our final stop reminds me to look out and up on my journey.
Hi, Dave. It is so lovely to meet you.
Hello, it's nice to meet you as well.
Dave Sanders is what one might call a professional stargazer. He works for Sedona Stargazing, a tour company that's been in business for over 30 years that I booked through Marriott Bonvoy Tours and Activities.
Well, what do you love about stargazing?
What I love about stargazing is looking up and seeing something in the sky that sparkles, that I can communicate with in a way that's more personal. Like I can look through a telescope and I can see the light that came from something hundreds, thousands of light years away. And that light is actually hitting the retina of my eye directly. And that's a communication.
Yeah.
It's a feeling that you're part of it.
Sedona was designated an international dark sky community in 2014. This reflects the city's commitment to maintain and protect its minimal light pollution, which makes for exceptional stargazing.
What do you want your customers to take away from this tour? What do you want them to feel when they go home?
I would like them to feel respect for the night sky and the darkness, and think about how it has affected our lives not to have this darkness as it once was. Like in the case of wildlife, wildlife really needs darkness to survive. And in the case of the human personality, our human feelings, we need the night sky to teach us respect, to teach us serenity and tranquility. And it can do that if you pay attention to it.
Dave guides me to a large telescope and asks me what I want to see.
All right. How about the moon?
I would love to see the moon.
All right.
It looks very full tonight, actually.
It is right now 98% full.
Okay.
Very bright.
Dave punches coordinates into the telescope.
And push enter, and then it goes to the object.
With a whir, the telescope starts moving slowly. Once it's locked into place, I look into the eyepiece.
Oh my goodness, it's so bright.
It is very bright.
Wow, that is incredible.
Right.
Just the texture.
Some of those bumps you see there are actually mountains and mountain ranges.
Oh,
and then most of the others are craters.
Now that is cool. And how many light years away is the moon?
About 1 1/3 light seconds.
What does that mean?
That means that the moon is very, very close.
Oh, it means, okay. And that's why it's so
Comparatively
large.
speaking.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I think for me being here, it just makes me realize how small and insignificant we all are.
Yes.
Right? We're
Yes.
surrounded by something so vast. So it just really brings everything into perspective.
Definitely. But when you're looking at them and through the telescope, you're connecting with them. It's our moon.
You know, I came to Sedona to slow down and reconnect to myself, and that's exactly what I got to do. At Yavapai Vista, for example, I spent time on the Red Rocks, and in turn, I got to tune into my body. At Pulaski Heritage Site, I traveled back in time, and, well, it reminded me that the stories we tell still live on. And then when I went stargazing, while I looked up at the same moon that I always see, this time I truly got to appreciate its beauty. That's all for this episode of About the Journey, but you can watch my day in Sedona on Marriott Bonvoy's YouTube channel. Thank you so much to our guides Melina Furman, Nick Massoni, and Dave Sanders. In our next episode, we're talking solo travel with Wanderlust expert Beth Santos.
I love to travel by myself.
I need to travel by myself.
We share our top solo travel tips, tricks, and tea from decades of solo traveling. About the Journey is produced by Marriott Bonvoy Traveler, At Will Media, Mantra, and me, Onika Raymond. Our Marriott producers are Robin Benefield, Valerie Connors, and Rachel Sulik. Our At Will Media producers are Christy Westgard, Gail Straub, and Tina Turner. Mixing and sound design by Greg Devins II with support from Andrew Holtzberger. Original theme music by Zach Grappone. Our Mantra video producer is Arno Zimmerman, director of photography Gabriel Noose-Newton, post-producer Zach Gelman, and editor Bryce Perry. For more travel inspiration, visit Marriott Bonvoy Traveler at traveler.marriottbonvoy.com. I'm your host, Onika Raymond. See you next time.